Hello everyone, welcome to the 12 days of Christmas. Christmas has always been my absolute favorite time of year. Although it doesn't really get cold here that often, I still enjoy it because it's a time for family to get together. Let's get into what you'll need to follow along. Of course, you're going to need a pencil, eraser, watercolor paper, watercolor paint, a brush. For watercolor paper, I'm using 100% cotton cold pressed paper, and I am cutting them to postcard size. For paints, I'm using Holbein artist grade watercolor paints. Throughout each video, I will be labeling what paint I'm using at that time. For a paintbrush, I'm just using a small round. This is a number 4. Of course, you'll also need 2 cups of water, one for clean and one for dirty. Optional is paper tape and a clipboard. Additionally, I will be putting all the outlines on Patreon for download. So if you want to support me, you can go over to my Patreon and sign up as a member. Then you'll get all the outlines at the same time as the video comes out. All right, thank you so much. Let's get into painting. Hello everyone, welcome to day 3 of the 12 days of Christmas. Copper is here to oversee our painting and make sure everything looks good. Once again, we will be using most of the same colors as the previous 2 paintings, but this time to change it up a bit and have something different, we'll probably end up painting the entire background. I think a nice blue background might be interesting, but we'll see as we go. All right, so to start, once again, grab your paintbrush, and we're going to start by painting the first layer of the spice and the herb, I guess. I'm gonna go in with a light wash of yellow ochre, just to fill in the blank space. Gotta move your head. Thank you. All right, we're just going to paint all over the entire star. There, now we're going to grab some burnt umber and drop it in just to give that branch some interest so it doesn't look flat. And then there are some dark parts here in between the folds and some of the contact shadows. But for right now, the focus is just on, making that first wash a little bit interesting. All right, so next thing we're going to do is grab our green. We're gonna start with a watery wash first. So I need to activate that paint, and then I'm adding more water to make it watery. Because if we look at the reference photo, it has different levels of green. Some are light and some are dark, and they're just kind of coming out straight from the branch. Is it time to go now? Okay, so we wanna make them look a little bit different. Some are straight, some are pointed a little bit upward. So just try to control your paint strokes. Some thick, some thin. Some could be angled a bit sharper, and some not as much. They're all kind of coming out from the same place, but just on different sides of the branch. Right now it feels very heavy on one side, and that's because of branches on this side and there's only one star on this side. So that's where the background is going to come in. We want to make, you know, some interesting patterns in the background here so that it will start to feel a bit more balanced. But at the moment, we're going to let this dry off and then do the second layer. All right, we are now moving on to the second layer. What we're going to do is we're going to paint a slightly darker green. And I don't mean we're changing the green by mixing it with another color. I just mean that we are painting over a slightly more saturated stripe green, as you can see here. We're not doing it everywhere, we're just doing it here and there because we want to use various different types of green so it looks like it is really layered. All right, we're gonna leave that like that for now. Once it dries, we'll go in again and paint a different green. So now grabbing our burnt umber, we want to paint the darkest on our star. We're just dropping it in the middle there. See that the star starts to have a bit of depth. Doesn't look like a flat star. That's done. We're going to go in and paint the shadows. Since it's so small, we're not really going to go in and blend any of the colors. We're just going to fill it in. What I mean by that is we're not going to use water to sort of blend out the colors because this is really just a bit too small for that. But we will sort of blend it a little bit by adding another layer over afterwards. You'll see as we paint another layer, if that makes sense. Usually with watercolor, I would, you know, use water to kind of blend it into the layer below, but I won't be doing that this time. So let's see if we can go in and paint slightly darker on some areas, because now that we've painted it all, it's starting to look flat again. So going in, just making that a tiny bit darker. This time we're not going to paint every single one, just the larger ones. Maybe a dot in the middle. All right, we're going to wait for that to dry and paint another layer of the leaves. We're going to change up the green and start to put down a background. All right, everything is dry to the touch. I also erased some of the lines here. We're now going to introduce our dark blue. To start, I'm going to grab a little bit of blue and mix it in with that green, that dark green that we've already had. As you can see, it becomes a lot cooler. Now doing the same thing, just going to find a few areas where I want to put in a darker green. All right, I think that's enough. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet some of the background and make sure you paint around your star. What I'm doing is this part is still wet, so I'm going to focus on this side, the left side for now. And hopefully by the time we move over to this side, those will be dry. Now, with most of the surface wet, what we're going to do is same, just drop it in. We want it to kind of do its own thing, play around. Start painting here a little bit. I'm gonna start moving the water around. And for this, you're going to have to do some negative painting. So you're going to paint around your leaves. Last thing I want to do is take dark burnt umber and paint some of those shadows again. Let it occasionally blend into the blue. That could actually look quite interesting. And there we go. Our third day of Christmas done.